Hello everyone. In this chapter we will cover installation and basic settings. In our first lesson, we will talk about our sample topology. In our second lesson, we will install the management server, and in our third lesson, we will install the firewall. In our fourth lesson, we will cover the issue of adding this firewall to the management server. Finally, in our fifth lesson, I will show you a lab example so you can lab at home or in the office, and I will tell you how to do it on VMware Workstation. Let's start by talking about our example topology in our first lesson. Let's examine the topology we will use in our lab, and let me tell you what we will do. We have an Istanbul office on the left side of our topology, and our Ankara office on the right. We will install a management server in our Istanbul office. We will install a firewall. We have a web server. We have an Active Directory, and we have an admin PC where we will install the Smart Console software. We have one PC on the Ankara side. Here we will use the 192.168.20.0 subnet. Our subnet, which is connected to Ethernet 1 of the firewall here, will also be subnet 172.16.0. We will use 44.34.0.0 subnet on the WAN side. We will use the Ethernet 0 ports of the firewalls as our WAN port. We will also use the 10.1.0 subnet on the web server side in Istanbul. There are two deployment models in Check Point. The first is the distributed deployment and the second is the standalone deployment model. In the standalone model, firewall and management server work on a single device, so you do not install management server as a separate device. When you install these two devices on a single device, it works as standalone, but we will use the distributed deployment model in our lab. We will set up our management server and firewalls separately and manage them through the management server. If there are hundreds of firewalls in your network, you get one management server and you can manage your firewalls by registering these firewalls to the management server. We call this model the distributed deployment model. As I said, if you do not use a management server in your network, you can use your devices as standalone. When I have already installed, I will explain the management server and security gateway stages in detail. Now, before starting the installation, let's look at the comparison of the management server and security gateway versions of Check Point. Then let's start the management server installation. On this page, you can see the comparisons of the management server and security gateway versions. Our side here is showing the security management versions. Our side here shows the security gateway, that is, the firewall versions. If you install a security management server in R81 version, these are the firewall versions you can manage, so you can manage from R77.30 to R81. If you use R80 management server version, you can manage from R77 to R77.30. So you cannot manage R80.10. Security gateway needs to be lower version than management server. You can download this document under the videos. After looking at the comparison chart, we can move on to our next lesson and start the installation of our management server. See you in our next lesson.